Everybody, let's call the December monthly meeting of the Lake School Board of Education order. Here. Here. Daniel. Here. 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 Everybody, stand on your pledge.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. A motion to adopt the minutes from the November meeting. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Seaver.
Yes.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda, item B, is communications and/or visitors to the board. Mr. Power.
Thank you. This evening, we'd like to introduce Marcus Shelton, trustee from Berlin Township. For a number of months, we've been exploring with the township the possibility of what to do with the Butlerville Elementary building. They have expressed an interest in that, and he has a presentation tonight that he'd like to make to the board regarding their projected use of that facility should something be able to be worked out.
Welcome, Mr. Sheldon. I don't know if you want to come to the podium or you have somebody to work your laptop there for you.
Yeah,
All right.
we're having some technical difficulties this evening.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, good evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Marcus Shelton. I'm here on behalf of the Harlan Township Board of Trustees to talk about the Bufferville Elementary School building. I believe each of you should have a copy of the budget proposal and a synopsis of the current state of the building and future plans. Clear. All right, after 83 years of operation and education, the Harlan Township Butlerville School building has been closed permanently. It was brought to the Harlan Township Board of Trustees' attention that there was a possibility that the building could be transferred over to the township. Of course, as alumni of the building, that piqued our interest into researching the property and see what options were available for the structure. We had several inspections done of the building. The structural integrity of that building at 83 years old exceeds the standards that are applied today to these buildings. It's just unbelievable the condition that that building is in. There's been several updates. The old fuse type panels have been updated to new electric panels, new fire alarm system, secure card entrance doorways, security cameras. There's a secure entrance on the back of the building for visitors that have to be buzzed in. The windows, the air conditioning, that's all been updated within the past 10 years. Asbestos removal, I worked with Mr. Blake, Mr. Flora over here at the Little Lady Maintenance Department, investigating any of the asbestos issues. They were kind enough to provide us with all the paperwork of the asbestos removal. As far, to our knowledge, as far as we know, the only asbestos left in that building is in those floor tiles on the upstairs part of the building. And as long as they're undamaged, they do not have to be removed, which I'm sure people like Pam and I do not want those removed. We remember them for many years. Capital expenditures and future improvements, issues that we found with the property and plans of action. The main issue that we found with the property was the package plant, the EPA cited building with a bad package plant, so the septic has to be removed or replaced. We received several quotes ranging from $130,000 to $500,000. And that price is just going to continue to go up with inflation over the next few months. We do have a plan in place. We want to use our ARP fund that we received to cover the package plant issue. We did obtain clarification from our representative that septic is a specific use listed in the guidelines of the American Rescue Plan, and it can be used for this project, and also for any studies that may be needed. The parking lot asphalt, it needs repaired, sealed, striped. It's not a major issue. I think you'll see in there we received a quote for, I believe it's like $8,300 to take care of that. The township would like to have a conference room for the township. This would be an asset not only to the trustees, but to our community. We have many small businesses, and we'd like to remodel one of the rooms on the end of the building to be used as a conference room. And we actually have a private donor that has stated he will cover the cost of remodeling that. Township records retention room. We'd like to move all of our records to one of the rooms there at the building, freeing up space at the admin building. That would give us more availability. Improve the lighting with LEDs. During our research, Mr. Blake and I, doing inspections of the building, we discovered none of the inside lighting or outside lighting had been replaced with LEDs. It's still using the old fluorescent T8s and the metal halides. There are energy grants and programs available to government entities to replace those with LEDs. And implementing these cost savings would reduce electric usage of the building and save up to 60% on the current cost. I believe if you see on page 1, those figures are from Little Miami. That's Little Miami's current cost. I believe it's around close to $20,000 is what the electric costs per year. Fuel oil. Harlan Township decided to look at competitive pricing a few years ago. Instead of constantly using the same supplier, we use a lot of fuel oil. We ended up saving approximately 11% by doing this in our first year, and we would do the same for this building. There are a couple of oil tanks there in the back, and I believe Mr. Flores is going to obtain quotes to get removed. So hopefully,
Yeah, we're in the process of getting that.
Internet. Little Miami Gig has offered to install high-speed internet into the building at no cost to the township. That would reduce another $2,500 off that cost on the initial page there from the current provider. I believe they currently offer 3 megabytes per second. Little Miami Gig will be putting in 1,000 megabytes per second. So this would improve connectivity for the consumers and their speeds. Fundraising. The 9 Lincoln Auxiliary in Harlan Township is offered to do fundraising for the building. They are super excited about helping out everybody, the whole community should come forward as far as if this is a possibility, transferring the township. Everybody wants to do their part wherever they can. They do a lot for the Harlan Township Fire Department. They've done a lot for our communities. Good group of people. We're blessed to have them. We have an anonymous donor that has given $100,000 for the maintenance cost and any kind of capital improvements that need to be made that we might not have foreseen. So that's just how excited people are. We have a youth basketball league that has approached the board of trustees about possibly leasing the gymnasium if we take the building. I believe that's listed in your synopsis there at the end, like 192 hours a year, that would be like an extra $2,900 in income for that building. So reduction in cost from the initial page there with grants, new LED installation, competitive pricing, and constant budget analysis. The current operational expenditures could be reduced by 25% within the first 6 months. So we could pretty much drop that from about $53,000 a year to about $30,000 a year. The future of Harlan Butlerville Elementary. This board has been tasked with the responsibility of deciding what to do with the property. I've just listed 4 things there. I'm sure there's many more options, but I like number 1, transfer to Harlan Township. Demolition, I'm sure nobody wants to see that. You can leave it sit, and then it becomes a blight on the community like so many of these schools do. I mean, just drive right down the road to Clarksville, look at that one, just trees growing through it. I'm sure you guys don't want that, and Harlan Township definitely does not want that. There might be a possibility to sell it with the septic issue. I was told by the EPA that the building could not be sold unless the septic was replaced. You guys would probably know more about that than I do, but I wouldn't think this board would want to sink $250,000 into the septic and then try to recoup the money selling the building. So, and then we refer back to 1, transfer to Harlan Township. My opinion. We've got 3 letters of intent to lease already that would more than cover the cost, the maintenance cost of this building per year. It'd be a huge asset to our community. We have B&B Apparel would like to lease a room. Little Miami Gig wants 2 rooms for offices. They're growing exponentially. They're just, I can't believe how quick they're growing. Bright Acres Learning Academy, they have a facility in Blanchester. The owners actually live in Harlan Township. And they've approached us with a letter of intent to lease. They would love to lease the 2-story part of the building and expand and grow their business. So the possibilities here for our community and the opportunity, we just think this is a great thing for Harlan Township if you guys were to go in that direction. I hope that was short enough. And if you guys have any questions, I'll entertain those.
To the board, if anybody has any questions.
I was just trying to get a handle on, because we named all like lots of different things, different entities coming in, so it's leasing different spaces.
Yeah, the township will hold some of those spaces, and in order to cover the cost, we don't want to take any money out of the general fund. We don't want this to be an issue where we're taking money from the taxpayers and putting into this building. We want this building to pay for itself and take care of itself.
So, just to be clear, your proposal doesn't require the school district to do anything additional, to put any additional funding into the building to...
Just keep it up until you do something with it and take care of the oil tanks.
The only thing that we are in the process of doing is remove, there's 2 5,000-gallon oil tanks that are no longer used, and we're in the process of having those removed from the site.
And does that process include whatever cleanup we need to do for...
Yeah, soil testing, and if there's any backfill abatement or anything like that, is included in what we're doing.
Okay, but that's really, we would have to do that regardless.
Yeah, we would pretty much have to do that, I would say, to sell the building.
Right.
Very good. I'll go last. Thank you for coming tonight and for your time. As someone who was on this board when we went through this process with Morrow Elementary and now seeing what it has turned into in the Morrow community where I live, there's nothing that would make me happier than to find this building be a positive positive piece of the Harlan Township community. So for my money's worth, I would like to see us do whatever we could do as a board and work with our legal representation to work with yours and see what we can do to make this possibility come to fruition and see what we can do. So I appreciate you coming tonight, and we obviously have had some discussions as a board about, you know, what do we do with Mainville and Butlerville, and I think all those conversations centered around how do we make sure that it becomes a positive piece of that community. And I know there's been some conversations with members of the board, Martin and Pam, who spent a lot of time out there, so you know, there's nothing that would make me personally happier than to have some kind of partnership between the school district and the trustees and the township, and make that thing be something really nice for you out there.
I appreciate that. Continuing education out there in our township, you know, we don't have any facilities anymore, educational facilities, and if we could continue to use at least part of that building as education, that would be a positive for our community.
I certainly appreciate the time that you put into the presentation and everything tonight, and if you would give us some time as a board to get with our legal team and reach out to you and your legal team and see what we can put together and how we can, you know, how we can make it happen.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
You too. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Next is our Cancer Praise part of the program, and if I could, I have Wayne come out front here for a minute, a little presentation. I'd like to make. Wayne, tonight's your last official board meeting as a board member, and as is our tradition, we have a little farewell acknowledgement that we make for anybody that steps forward to serve the families and the children of our community. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank you for 4 years of service, not only with the board and with the leadership team of the district, but serving the families and the children of our community. We've certainly run into some pretty challenging circumstances with some of the social and political elements that are out there, and of course we seem to be living the COVID 3, 4, 5, who knows where we're going to end up with all of that, but we'd like to wish you the best moving forward. Thank you for your service. But you'll continue to be an ardent supporter of Little Miami, and as a small token of our appreciation, we'd like to present you with this certificate of commendation and appreciation. And don't be a stranger. These board meetings have been exciting of late, and I know that you probably can't get by. There's a little excitement every month, so you know, we really appreciate your service, and this is a hard job for our board members, and especially become more difficult in all of our elected offices as our times have changed. So thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. For a little over 4 years ago, I ran for a position here on the school board. And I felt very fortunate to win that. As a graduate of Little Miami, I did that to give something back to the school district. And I think with all the hardships we've all gone through, we've managed to do that. And I wish the faculty, the staff, the students, and everybody the best of luck here in the future. And thank you, Greg, and the whole school board. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
And I think, Mr. Demus, you have some more recognition to do here too, don't you?
I've got some more.
Thank you.
So this month's Cancer Pride Award winners are 2 staff members who embody service. When seeking testimonies from Little Miami primary and Little Miami middle school staff members, the word helpful was a recurring theme. The excitement of staff members to share their experiences with these 2 Panthers speaks volumes for just how much they are appreciated by students and their peers alike. Ellen Mason and Angie Grubb have proven themselves to be essential Little Miami team members and a regular source of assistance for staff at their respective buildings. Each of these two ladies will be presented with a certificate of recognition, and then inside your envelope here are some testimonies from some of your colleagues who have had nice things to say about you in this process as well. The Little Miami Board of Education is pleased and honored to recognize Angie Grubb and Ellen Mason for their dedication to Little Miami staff and students and the joy they bring to their buildings each and every day. So if you would, please come forward.
Yeah, let's just center it right here. So Tony, you can join in the middle. All right, ladies, you want to show your certificate? Oh, excuse me.
That stuff's gonna fall out. All the good stuff will fall out if you're not here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda for item C is community comments on agenda items. Mrs. Coates?
I have Marcus, but I'm assuming, were you going to comment on something again, or was that your?
No, that was getting my
There's any Marcus at this time then?
All right, thanks. Marcus is all good. All right, we don't have any Board of Education recommendations on the agenda under item D, so the next thing is item E, treasurer's reports and financial reports. Mr. Gondon.
Yes, under item E, number one, I ask for the board's approval of the November bank reconciliation and monthly reports, which includes the financial summary of all individual funds, budgetary reports, and also revenue report from the general fund.
I need a motion, please. Mr. Hamlin,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Horvath. Any discussion or anything you want to add, Mr. Gondon?
The calendar year end is upon us. Of course, these are November reports, but we're wrapping up the calendar year end as far as W-2s, 1099s, and all that goes as well.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond? Yes. Thank you. Next, under item 2, ask for the board's approval of resolution 21-007.
Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Siebert,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Hamlin. Mr. Gondon, anything you want
Yeah, this resolution actually is an amendment to the resolution that we approved back in March of 21. Each year, once we do the tax budget, we go to the Warren County Budget Commission and the tax rate is established, and then of course the board approves them in March, so we'll have that actually coming up here soon. Again, but due to the reappraisal and the increase in values and so on, our millage rates have changed a decent amount actually since March till now. With the reappraisal for 21, real estate valuations went up about $220 million, or 21%. So essentially what's happening is our millage rates are going down for a couple different reasons. That would be one of them. Also paying off some debt and also refinancing debt back in 16. We were able to lower the millage. What we're looking at right now, actually, I'm going to go over this real briefly, but I gave you a chart there with some millage rates on it, and I'm going to go over what we're seeing right now. Back in March, we approved bonds, which essentially we have to pass so much millage to bear principal and interest, about 7.6 mils, which was down from 8.4, but actually we're going to be coming in at 6.68 mils. So down another almost additional mil, and actually down 1.7 mils from the prior year. So that millage is going down, and actually also our millage in our general operations is going down. This would be mainly the emergency levy. If you remember, we got started back at 13.95 mils back in 2011, and actually that millage rate now is going to be 8.18 actually mils. And that is a drop from back in March. We thought it would be around 9 and some change. We're actually going to be down to 8.18, so just a little over 8 mils. So So we saw a big drastic drop from when we first passed that a decade ago, the nearly 14 mils down to just a little over 8 mils. So what's all that mean? I guess that's a good question. What does that mean? Essentially, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna think of pizza, I guess. But the pizza's still the same size. Everybody's slices get a little bit smaller, which is nice. Our millage is going down, and we're still generating, especially the emergency levy. It's a fixed dollar amount. As new people move in, real estate valuations go up, everybody's piece gets a little bit smaller than they pay on. So that's a good thing. I love to see millage rates go down and not go up, because it means they're going in the right direction. But I just want to go there. So that's what this resolution is establishing is, and this is for 21. Of course, your taxes are collected a year behind real estate taxes, so they'll be collected during 22. So this is what the resolution's updated, those rates from March.
Thank you, Terry. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Thank you. And next, under contracts, as for the board's approval of the contract as listed.
Need a motion, please?
I'll move.
Ms. Horvath?
Second?
Second by Mr. Seaver.
It's actually just one contract. It's for the spring plays, actually, for choreography. And it's at $600.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Ms. Horvath?
Yes.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Next thing is item F, Superintendent's Reports and Recommendations. Mr. Power.
Thank you. Ask the board's approval for all the items listed under personnel.
Need a motion, please?
I'll move.
Mr. Hamlin?
Second?
Second by Mr. Seaver. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I ask the board's approval for a lease for the Morrow Area Historical Society. They're leasing 2 rooms at our Mainville Elementary building. I recommend approval of that.
Need a motion, please?
So moved.
I got Mr. Seaver,
I'll second.
and I'll second by Mrs. Horvath. Anything you want to add, Mr. Power?
I think it's a great community organization to be able to support. They're in the 2 outside classrooms over at Mainville, and we're glad to have them be able to use that facility.
Any questions or discussion?
I'm curious, will they have to move in? Is there a lot of physical file cabinets or something that
Well, they lost their lease in the village, and shortly after they lost their lease, before they could move out, there was some kind of a water leak that happened in the building, so they've been working to reclaim some of the historical. I think they had some sort of newspaper collection that got water damaged. I actually rented through facility rental. I actually got them into that building at the beginning of November under our facility use rental until we could get a lease approved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, under item G, new business. There is no Warren County Career Center report tonight since Bobby's not here. Next thing would be a board report. Ms. Horvath, do you have any student achievement report tonight?
Yes. Little Miami students earned spots in the district honor band. So on December 4th, several Little Miami students auditioned for the Ohio Music Education Association's District 13 honor band. And this included students from Mason, Lakota East and West, Fairfield, Lebanon, Ross, Tri-County North, Springboro, Clinton Massey, and Little Miami. So there were several students that received spots in various grade levels ensembles. In the 7th grade, we have Lillian Higgins with the trumpet, Zach Guthrie playing trumpet, and Riley Pucko playing trumpet. In the 8th grade, we have Ella Brown, trumpet, Michaela Harvey, trumpet. In the 9th grade, Logan Graham, clarinet, Riley Angel, tenor saxophone. And then there's the Symphonic Winds, which is grades 10 to 12. We have Sam Schmidt, trumpet, and Amethyst Rowan, trombone. So these talented Panthers will be performing in a concert at Mason High School on January 16th. The 7th and 8th grade band concerts will be at 2 p.m. and the 9th grade and Symphonic Winds will perform at 4 p.m. Congratulations to all of you.
All right, thank you. Next thing, item 3, under new business is our next board meeting date. Just to give everybody a heads up, we will have an organizational meeting on Tuesday, January the 11th at 7 p.m. here in the Panther Room. We're actually going to have a tax budget hearing at 6:15 prior to that.
I believe the organization meets 6:30.
Oh, 6:30?
I believe so.
All right, sorry. So the organizational meeting will be at 6:30 with a tax budget hearing at 6:15, and there'll be a swearing in of Ms. Elmer, the new board member at that time. We will then, after the organizational meeting, we'll have a work session that'll be open to the public as well after that organizational meeting. Next thing under item H is community comments on non-agenda items.
Silence, gentlemen.
Y'all know me, silence. You know, I just had a lot of thoughts that run through my head here the last couple of months. And when I was in school, we was told we could do anything we wanted to be, anything we wanted to be. You know, there wasn't really anything to kind of rein you in. You wanted to start a business, you want to do whatever, you could do it. And now, the only thing we hear about is COVID. The next COVID variant, the next COVID variant, the next COVID variant. And the truth is, if we paid that much attention to any particular disease, we could do this forever. Absolutely could do it forever. And my fear is within our school systems, not just Little Miami, all of them. Little Miami is its own kingdom, so to speak. That we pay so much attention to COVID that we're going to rein these kids into a box, that they're going to live in a state of fear to a point that takes their optimism away. They can't do things because. And it's this switch of a communist society, so to speak, where you really start controlling your population. We're a school system of patriotism. We're a school system of taking care of one another. We're a school system of absolutely making sure that we use everything we can to bring our kids as far as we can. I've got neighbors, I got friends. I was at a funeral today of a person that died of COVID. It is an absolute real thing, but we cannot live in a fear of death. Otherwise, we squelch where we're going as a society, where we're going as a person, where we're going as a school system. When we start living in a state of fear, go crawl in a box. Wait to die. Or, you look what America has always been. America has been achievers. America is a place where we take a chance. We die. We go. We serve our country. That is what America is. That's what Little Miami is to me. And, you know, there's very little I can do. But there's a whole lot I can do. And I look at our school system and I say, make sure we're not squinching our kids' optimism. You know, well, let's see where COVID is. Good Lord. If it ain't COVID, it's going to be something else. It will be. It's whatever. But make sure that we're not squinching where our kids are going. Our kids' direction. You know, you can't. Yes, you can. You know, it's only so true that we say you can be anything you want to be. That's only so true. There are certain people who are going to do great, bountiful things. I'm not a smooth speaker. I wish I had the grace of my brother. I'm not a smooth speaker.
I practiced all day.
Well, you won't say on TV screen. But you know, it's way on. I'm worried about it. And the last thing we want to do is be reined in as a society on fear. We punch forward, we punch on, we march on. If you don't throw fear to the side, if you think the guys that walked on the moon wasn't scared, man, they're scared all the way up there until you jump out. You go into war, you're scared, but you're there for a purpose. You know, But don't let the fear of the unknown squelch where we're going as a system, as a community. Because I tell you, this Little Miami, nobody wants to hear it. Clinton Massey, I love Clinton Massey because they're not afraid of patriotism. They're not afraid of where they come from. They're not afraid of who they are. And I'm saying Little Miami, do the same way. We can do it. We just can't. No. March on. Screw fear. Don't worry about that. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Mike Bios.
My name is Mike Diaz. I live at 7741 Ravenwood Lane. I got two concerns. Number one is I emailed the board and Mr. Power a few weeks ago on issues with lighting at the Salem Elementary parking lot. It was taken care of in the next day or two, and I appreciate that, but there are still concerns. If you go over there at night, coming out of the building and walking down the sidewalks, it is still pretty dark. We were notified, the parents of basketball players, that we could only have one parent watch our kid practice because there was a theft in the building. They don't know who it was from, whether it was cleaning crews or parents or students from the other teams. But not having adamant lighting around there is a safety concern. There's only 3 lights in the parking lot, and they're out towards the road. There isn't really sufficient lighting near the building. As you come up that, I don't know what that road is there, it's completely dark. I don't know if something could be said to the village or the township, whatever's out there.
Out on Welch Road.
Yeah. I mean, it's pitch black coming up from where the buses, the transportation office is at.
I can give the village a call, we can look at it. We can look at what's on our site there as well, see what we can do to improve that.
I appreciate it. And then issue number 2, I know it was a major issue being in school year with the bus system and the routes and how long it was taking, and it's gotten better. My student I got a student primary and LMECC. My primary student obviously is there all day. He was supposed to be off the bus at 4:30 at our house. He has not once been to our house by 4:30. He's still arriving at 4:45, 4:50. He's on that bus for an hour. They go from the primary building all the way up to Salem to pick up students, and then they sit there and wait, pick them up, and then they depart there. I don't know if there's some way we can rearrange the school buildings and what class or at what buildings. I know it keeps changing year to year with the new buildings and such, but I don't think there's a reason for them to be sitting on a bus for an hour. For them to get home at 5 o'clock, be expected to have dinner there, get your homework done, and then, any extracurriculars. It's kind of tough. I know a lot of people, parents have been upset about that. There's no excuse to be sitting on a bus. Half the kids, by the time my kid gets home, half the kids on the bus are sleeping on the bus. So I don't know if that's something you guys can take a look at and try to fix. Probably will happen this year, but
We are actively working on that,
okay.
so that we're not running that late with a little different planning for next year.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Coates, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Good.
Greg, could I ask about the lighting? Do we have lights there that just aren't on, or do we not?
We had some burnout lights that we replaced. Mr. Fox brought that to our attention. And then that's been the lighting that's been on the site. Even when it gets dark like this, it's a dark area around the building. So we have to look at the lighting. I know there are some street lights out on Welch Road. We'll have to go look at those. I think there's one directly across the street, if I recall. We'll have to see, make sure that one's working. And I know the village is supposed to, the whole renovation of that front road, the whole infrastructure and everything. We're waiting for our construction to get done before they went down and finished up the rest of their work on Welch Road.
Yeah, I know there's one light at the last residential house there. It is out from there down to the other intersection. There's no street lights.
You kind of get a little bit down there. That's not the village anymore. That's actually the township.
Salem Township. So you have the village of Morrow.
Yeah.
and then converging with Salem Township there also.
Yeah.
Okay. How about, sometime you and I take it, today's the shortest day of the year, right?
Right.
So, how about you and I take a ride sometime, and we'll go right up there and take a peek. I might be able to convince someone from the village to take a ride with us as well, and we'll go right up there and see if we
Okay.
can, what it looks like and maybe what we can do.
All right.
Okay. Perfect. Any other questions? All right, need a motion to adjourn, please? Mr. Seaver,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Horvath. Roll call, please.
Mr. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Nemich?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, everybody.